across, it was like 3.5 million across the entire portfolio between blue chip and some of my private accounts. But it was rough. I mean, I feel like it was like April more than any other month required more effort on sales, produce results. So what are the things that you saw on the marketing side that you think was causing, because it's not like the lead quality dropped, right? Lead quality across the board stayed the same, but it just seemed like it was just required more effort from sales to produce the same kind of results.
Yeah. So a few things. I would say for some reason high intent people weren't that the feedback that we got from the portfolio company is that the intent wasn't high enough, right? Like they were going through, it looked great on paper, but like it's like a perfect A, right? For that lead to come through. So what we did is just we added a little bit more higher intent type of questions on the front end, and it seemed to work because the clients were saying, "Hey, the leads are looking a little different. They're starting to come in a little bit more high intent and stuff like that." So I would say that is one of them. The second thing is because it was happening at a macro level, it wasn't happening to just like one or two accounts. It's happening to pretty much all accounts. Is the just April in general, right? So taxes, kids going to school, out of school, spring break, all that. So I think that had a contribution to it as well. The third thing is Meta did change some of their stuff in terms of their ad setup and how things are set up there. So we're really big on flex ads here at Blue Chip. So everything we do is flex driven. However, they are taking away that functionality at the ad level now. So the way that Facebook is rolling things out is they're rolling out this multimedia thing where it happens. So you don't select flex, it's a new thing that is happening. So all that changed. So even if you are running flex and you try to duplicate one of your ad sets, you can't duplicate it. Like I can't even publish some of them. So you have to kind of like restart them from scratch. You couldn't even bring over the current ad copies and all that. So I think a little bit of them changing things on how they are going to be able to structure certain things. I think that had a little bit of an effect as well. Another thing that we are probably going to end up rolling out for our blue chip clients, we are getting more data, but it's starting to look that way, is on our VSL funnels, is we are not going to have, more than likely, I haven't made the decision yet because we rely on data. We just don't make assumptions just to make assumptions. But the button, we're not going to view the button until the 5-minute mark. I do have one account that crushes it. Like literally everybody buys that books where the button doesn't appear until 5 minutes in. So they have to watch 5 minutes, or Charlie will kick in at the 10-minute mark, which is usually where we have Charlie kick in to start combos. So either they get booked in by Charlie or the button isn't going to appear to the 5-minute mark, which makes them watch at least 5 minutes. Or if they do still have the button, they're going to be forcing people to watch that, and they have to actually tell them something back. Did you watch?
I mean, that's not even, that's something that we've noticed because we did an audit on the cohort of leads that signed up this month already. And 92% of that came from people who had consumed like 50% or more of the marketing collateral on the landing page after completed the first opt-in. Like
Exactly. And some of our blue chip clients already messaged inside Slack like, "Hey, we just got another sale." So I think the whole April thing is starting to go away now, because in the last week and a half, people on our blue chip portfolio are saying, "Hey, sales are coming through now. Hey, look, the high intent are starting to come through." So it's starting to turn a corner here, which I told them, like, look, there's really nothing to change in my opinion. I think you just need to write it out, and I think you'd be okay. But in the process of everything happening inside April, we also did a bunch of experiments from the marketing standpoint in terms of the opt-in quiz, from the consumption of the video, of that part where the button appears and it doesn't appear. And then we also did some more work when it came to part-time people. Do we let them in? Do we not? Even if it's good credit or not, do they end up booking? And if they did end up booking, do they buy? That was another thing where we did did something on that, self bookings, and all that. But so all that I think happened in April.
Yeah, I mean, a lot happened in April.
It's a lot happened in April. So I would say it's just a combination of all those things where you just got hit and you're like, F me, what do I do?
Yeah.
You just need to chill with the little micro adjustments. Don't be changing all kinds of stuff type deal because it was happening to everybody, not just one or two accounts.
Yeah, anything something is like macro to that point where it's just like a clear pattern across multiple offers. I mean, the first thing that we want to do, we want to avoid knee-jerk reaction and like
Yes.
knee-jerk reaction to want to like go in and make a bunch of changes. Because if it's happening across several different accounts I mean, right now, what's the ad spend per month? Like close to a mil. And
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah.
yeah, so we're pushing like 1 million a month in ad spend. So we're saying like it's macro means like it's happening across all the accounts. So any changes to the system or any changes to what we're doing would just be too risky because the environment has changed, right?
Mhm.
We have to kind of sit back and see if it's a temporary shift in the market or if it's something where it's like this is the new rules to the game where like we had to a few years ago we had to change structurally our acquisition engine from DM funnels to a call funnel, right? Where it's just like because like the game was changing in terms of what you can do there. And then even then we had to change that again based on like how meta some of the changes that meta is forcing on media buyers to where like we have to adjust how the campaigns are structured. And we did a ton of testing, especially with Andromeda, where they were forcing you to kind of get away from detail targeting, things like that. And we were like some of the last people to make the shift because the algorithm just wasn't good enough and it wasn't enough data to justify that dramatic of a change. So sometimes like we got to fight the urge to want to knee jerk react and make a bunch of changes and be like, all right, well, this is why we build reserves within the business. You know, I'm aggressive about like our portfolio operators building healthy reserves so that they can absorb the volatility in the market and not have to panic, you know?
Mhm.
So those on the marketing side. So we did make some few changes in the funnel. So not on the advertising campaign. So anything that's macro happening, it just means like we just have to write it out typically and see if it's going to be a long-term change or if it's a temporary wave that we just need to ride out. Things that we can change within our control is how we are essentially segmenting leads that are opting in and how do we increase the clarity of the signal of the leads who are opting in, like, are they high intent? So you going in there and making some changes to the questions and adding more high intent questions, adding a little friction was huge. And then increasing consumption has been like the thing that we're seeing across the board. So forcing consumption on the leads that are coming through seems to be performing really, really well. So not letting leads book until they've consumed X amount of minutes of the video content. And then for some of the webinars engines that I'm in, we're not even letting leads who register for the webinar and didn't attend. We're not even letting those leads book. Charlie's forcing them to go back to the replay and forcing them to watch like 50% of that webinar. And then once they watch 50% of the webinar, then another agent gets activated to have a conversation with them if they don't book a call to get them onto the calendar. Right. So we're forcing consumption across the board as far as sales operations go. And then the tool experiment that we ran just to see if we can increase show rate. One of them was we had one of the closers send out like a personalized message with their backstory. And this was the only closer that we had do this. Right. So check this out. This has been going on for like the entire month of April, just because we're like, how do we increase show rate for some of the closers on the team? So we had 2 different closers make a couple changes to their pre-call process. One of them was calling everyone to confirm their leads personally. That close, they had an 11% increase in show rate and ended up closing out the month at about an average of 65%. So this is on top of the confirmation messages that Charlie's sending and things like that, like them calling and just trying to confirm their appointment. And then we had another closer send text messages, like just one text message introducing themselves with a pre-recorded Loom video, YouTube video that they made that is hosted on the company YouTube as an unlisted video that she would send in her personal confirmation. And the one who is sending the personal confirmation for the month of April, she is the only one that had a 77% show rate. And in the last week, she had a 90% show rate. This week, she had a 90% show rate. And so this is the message that she sent. And what we're going to be doing is working on something kind of dynamic like this for each closer. But she was just like, hey, Kelly, this is Stephanie from Rejuvenating. I'm excited to connect with you soon. A little bit about me. I'm a holistic nutritionist, menopause specialist, and a mom of 2 amazing kids. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's in my 20s, and through functional nutrition and hormonal balance, I was able to fully reverse it naturally. That journey completely transformed my health and inspired my mission to help other women do the same. Over the years, I've met women through every stage of life, from postpartum to menopause, helping them find balance, energy, and confidence again. I know it can be challenging prioritizing your own health while managing everything else, but I promise it's absolutely possible. Can't wait to learn about you and your goals to see how we can make this journey fit into your lifestyle. Our meeting is tomorrow at XYZ time via the Zoom link, via Zoom. Talk soon. And then the YouTube video is included in that link. That's the only message that she sent. She had an average of 77% show rate for the entire month. She was the only person doing that. All right. So that's a strong enough signal that we're going to be rolling that out and having everyone create kind of like a personalized message similar to that, following that format, record a video, saying effectively the same thing via video. Like the video is like a 30-second video and it's hosted on YouTube, and that gets included in the message. So we'll see how that goes. Next month we'll be rolling up the entire team.
And just to give some context on that too, Iggy, so you let them know, that's a very huge sample size too, because this company, we book like 300-400 calls a week, fully qualified on these calendars. So it's not like 15 and 20 calls. It's like hundreds probably of calls that are happening on that.
Yeah. So she had 90 calls this
There you go.
month and produced 122,000 in cash collected. So that's for that rep, and nobody else is sure it was touching hers. Like, it's not been close. All right. Mm-hmm. So we're rolling that out to everyone on that side and making them implement something like that, just because it's really, really good signal. And then the other thing that we're kind of transitioning into implementing as far as like phase 2 of like ecosystem build out for our blue chip portfolio is giving people a different way of entering the sales engine. All right. So right now we're going application like VSL, quiz application, call funnel is the only way people can enter right now. They're getting financially qualified, all that good stuff, and that's going straight to the closers. As they become more economic, kind of like unrest, just due to the war and things like that, there's a lot of fear mongering happening that will cause the market to kind of contract a little bit, right? And as capital becomes more harder for people to access, what we're going to have to do is create our own pool of buyer leads, right? So just so you guys understand, you have your followers is like they're the furthest out, right? You have people who are just seeing your stuff for the first time. They're actually the furthest out. Then you have your followers. And then you have your leads, people who actually give you contact information, right? So those are like closer to the money, but then you have like customers, right? People who are purchasing a product from you, but they don't get access to your team. They don't get one-on-one access to you in any way, shape, or form. But they're customers. Those are more like buyer leads. So going from someone who's a buyer lead to a client, that's really going to be the most sustainable way to scale a business long term. So what we're doing is we're transitioning to the next phase is we're introducing not super low ticket products like $27 products, but more like 150 to even as high as like $1,500 products, more like mid tier. And we're plugging them into like a reoffer campaign on the back end. So if leads get DQ'd, they have an opportunity to purchase a product for $150 or for $27 or whatever it is. If leads are sitting in a pipeline for more than 30 days who've had a sales call but didn't buy, if they don't respond to like the scholarship we offer, we're remarketing them, retargeting them, and reoffering them this downsell as an option. So we're going to be starting to roll out different ways for people to become customers, and then from there we'll implement an engine that will send the customers and turn them into actual clients, into high ticket clients. So that's like the next phase that we're transitioning a lot of these companies to, is going from one dedicated channel of acquiring high ticket clients to implementing a way to liquidate more ad spend up front, and then creating a pool of buyers, and then from there sending buyers into high ticket clients. All right, so Q2 is really about gathering some data and laying the foundation for that, and we're already going to be launching our first kind of like campaigns in May, and then June, first Friday of June, like we'll be able to share with you how that works, data that we're seeing, results that's coming from that, and ultimately what type of funnels that we're building that we're seeing is working really well depending on the offer. So we're having to do this kind of rollout in a very small cohort because each one is very custom built and pretty tedious to put together. But that's kind of where I'm seeing the market go, is like businesses that don't have good distribution in different ways to acquire customers on the front end is going to struggle as the market contracts a little bit. So I want to get ahead of it and start taking 10 to 50%, 15% of our ad budget and allocating towards R&D for getting this type of acquisition system going, so we have more than one way to acquire customers.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, the three that we're going to be currently rolling out, they're all three are different. So one is a internal account where they're going to lead with the actual low ticket product. So they're going to lead with the $27 product, and then they're going to capture everything in the back end to ascend. The second one is more of a 147, 197 product where she's going to DQ from the quiz. It'll go to that. It'll happen from internally inside Charlie, where they're going to be DQing, where Charlie can send them to that. And it will be enter sales fails and everything. So that is a second different option looking type of low ticket.
Yeah. And that one's going to have 3 different cohorts to interject. So you have the DQ leads, you have qualified leads that have been in the pipeline for more than 30 days. And then you have the sales fails that haven't accepted a reoffer yet. So they've already gone through the scholarship reoffer and they didn't bite on that. And then they're going to get reoffered with this. So those are going to be like the 3 cohort of leads that we're going to be rolling this out to.
Yeah. And it's a very good low ticket product. It's kind of like OTO low ticket, but anyways, so that's the second option. The third option that we built out for another client is going to be the pay challenge. So he's going to run it internally to all his qualified leads, sales fails, all that. Plus he's going to run it organically, and then we're going to run some spend behind it. So those are 3 totally different style of low ticket offers that we're going to be rolling. So it's not like the same low ticket, but everybody gets. As you can see, like those 3 took a while to build. It's just because they're so custom the whole funnels look different. It's not just rinse and repeat for everybody. So just those are the three that we're going to be running. So by the time a month comes, you'll have what happened to all three different styles that were ran. So that's what's
Yeah.
happening there.
And then eventually how it's going to fit in the ecosystem once we start pushing ads to it is going to be some leads are going to see just the VSL ads, right? And if they don't take action, then they're going to get retargeted with the low ticket ads. And then some leads are only going to see the low ticket that might become a customer and they get added to a customer, like a custom audience for retargeting. And then those leads will get an opportunity to see the VSL and go through the VSL and eventually book a call if they haven't already ascended to become a client, right?
Mhm.
So this is going to be essentially just another piece of the ecosystem that allows it to, essentially we're creating a flywheel that reduces CAC, right? The ultimate goal of having this implemented is how do we reduce our CAC so that the margin on it is really, really good to where even if we need to come down a little bit on price, right? For as far as like the high ticket come down a little bit, there's enough meat on the bones to absorb that if it comes down to that. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it will as we build a good base of customers, but at the end of the day, like you gotta be able to essentially, I want to make our acquisition for our portfolio companies, I want to make it as anti-fragile as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
And then pro tip on the ad side. So for instance, we optimize for purchases for fully qualified book calls. Now, if you're going to be running traffic to a low ticket model of some sort where obviously you're optimizing for purchases, highly recommend you get a different ad account. Everything stays the same fan page, same pixel, same everything, but you get in the different ad account and you run the low ticket over there. If you're running purchases as for book calls, separate it, because if you do it in the same one, they compete big time. And usually what I've been seeing is my VSL gets extremely expensive for a qualified book call if the other one is competing the same thing. So just separate the ad account. Separate the ad account. That's it.
Yeah. And for and it's the nuance there is for, because we're optimizing, like our call funnels are optimizing for purchases, right?
Mhm.
So having them separate is like you have to kind of treat it as a separate business unit, separate data,
Yeah.
separate pixels, things like that, so that it's it's easy to manage and they don't start cannibalizing each other.
Yeah, but if you're optimizing for like schedules for book calls, and then you layer in that low ticket, you can keep it in the same ad account because it's two totally different objectives from a Facebook standpoint. But if you're optimizing for purchases for book calls, just put the buy low ticket stuff in a different ad account and just run the ads on that one. You can still keep the same fan page. You can still keep the same pixel. I haven't seen the pixel do any harm. Actually, no, we're actually going to create a new pixel because the book call purchase fires the purchase pixel. So we're probably going to have a purchase only low ticket pixel if that's the case.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need to have a separate
Yeah.
pixel for that. We'll accelerate how fast the pixel learns by, doing the thing that we do with the conversion API, just to kind of like train it on who to put in front of. But it'll need to be separate data silos.
Yep. So I would recommend doing that instead of spending money and you're like, oh crap, like I don't think this is working. Let me separate. Then you just spend the cash and time doing the other thing.
And then the only other thing that we've really started to see on sales, I think I've already talked about it before, but having a really good and documented offer presentation. It is, I don't hear enough people really talking about having a good offer presentation part of your sales process, but our sales team, every single one without fail that I make implement the offer presentation process, is like their sales conversion goes up and stays consistent. All right, so all that looks like is something like this. I'm typically having like build this out for each one kind of like separately. But the easiest way to kind of build out an offer presentation is you just take the sales script from, you just you transcribe the call that you've had, have AI take apart the part where you offer the call, like the one where you're like, man, you nailed it. And then have it create an offer presentation script based on the call that you're like, man, if I can just say the same words in kind of like the same way every single time, then that's going to crush it. But the reason why we do something like this, where when they're presenting the offer, we're making them show some type of presentation, is because we're forcing people, and as far as like the sales team goes, to use the same words in the same order every single time. So the focus of them is on how they're saying the words and how they're adapting it to make it relevant to the person that they're talking to. All right. So sales teams are typically going to resist this at first until you make it look sexy. Right. And then I'm like, I don't care if you share your screen or if you just are following it behind the scenes, but you don't get to say anything other than what's in our slides when you're presenting the offer. All right. So if they're presenting the offer and they're not closing deals, I can look at it and go, well, what do we need to change about the presentation? But if somebody else is presenting an offer and they're crushing it, and we've got several people on the team presenting an offer the way that it's mapped out and they're crushing it, and then that person's not, then I just need to focus on how they're saying the things that they're saying and making sure that, again, that they're drilling the presentation so that it's more fluid. All right. So all it really is like, we have a very clear system for how we're acquiring customers. We have a clear system for how we're acquiring leads, how we're getting into book. Now we're implementing clear systems for how we're actually presenting the offer, and then implementing clear systems for how we're taking someone through discovery. And in the age of AI and kind of like where things are going, how you present things and the experience that you're able to create when you're taking somebody through a sales process is ultimately going to be like the X factor, the thing that's happening behind the scenes that people don't see, and it's hard for somebody else to copy. All right. We have time. Is there anything else that you want to dive into, Tikis, as far as that goes?
No, I was going to talk about our newest blue chip that we fully turned around, but I will wait for next month. That's the real estate one. I'm excited for them. Super excited. So we'll wait till next month on how that goes.
Yeah, we don't have enough data. I mean, we have enough data on the marketing side. Like
we have enough. Yeah, the data is really good on the marketing side, but I'd rather get like a full month before I say anything on that.
Yeah, and then we have them implementing some sales stuff that
it's just so you guys know, like, the business doesn't even look the same since we took over. It took us about 3 weeks or so to turn it around, because it literally need from ad all the way through to fulfillment a complete 360. It wasn't a couple things. It was awful, but we just saw so much potential in that business, and I was very excited for it. That's why we ended up doing it. We knew it was gonna be a tons of work, but super excited. We'll wait till another month for that. We'll talk about that next monthly.
Looking really, really good though.
Really, really good. I'm in their wins channel and they're posting sales. I'm like, let's go. So good. But we'll wait for a month. But I don't have anything else. I'm pretty good. I mean, we can see if anybody here has any questions about anything.
If you guys got questions,
so just that sales presentation thing, absolutely facts. Just to give you guys an update, I couldn't make lead gen. Purchase campaigns are going crazy. Bottom of funnel is going crazy. Top of funnel is hitting. Like the whole warming up process, motherfuckers is coming in absolutely like ready to like drop their financial draws for us. So I'm really hyped about that.
Yeah, let's go.
So what else? I mean, also change the messaging up. brought volume down, but quality went up just in terms of like the messaging on the front end. I'm not B2B like a lot of folks here, or biz op B2C where there's money involved. I know you guys run fitness and stuff like that. People scared of dying, so that has a lot of emotional weight to it. I run a hobby offer, and I finally found messaging and ad messaging that cracked. That has people with the right intentions, the right like seriousness, and the quality. I begin like credit pulls, even if they're not qualified from a credit standpoint, income is like stupid high, but they like have fucked up credit. Maybe they're like some real estate deals or something that has their credit score down, but they have high available credit and high income. I've piffed out I think 57,000 this last week from everybody. So I'm going to push that. Those campaigns. I got some other stuff on the burner for ads. And yeah, man, hitting the professorial route, and also naming price in ads, and just saying up front what it is for middle of funnel. Free value up top, middle of funnel, belief shifting, and then bottom of funnel, I'm gonna start doing all the other bullshit with just the normal direct response. But cold direct response ball format has been killing, like pre-framing and everything, getting everything together, and using their skepticism to my advantage with proof elements, and the messaging saying, hey, you're skeptical, we know, so watch the video to see the proof. And like the through play on my actual VSL, it was like a steep this before. Now it's like it's definitely people are like sticking a little bit more. It went up 34 point something percent.
Nice.
Yeah. So
if you're not tracking, and hopefully, like, I mean, Vaughn, you've been around for a cool minute. Since we started, we just recently started doing these more publicly because Tikis and I sync up pretty consistently, just documenting what we're learning and things like that. And as you guys started getting around and seeing these more, like tracking your data and knowing your analytics to like video consumptions, your people clicking on, like what's happening inside of your engine, and you can start fine-tuning different steps and start to see relationships from, if I do this here, how does it impact here downstream? If we make changes here that are seeing results, how do we implement them here so that the downstream effects is where we need it to be? That's like the biggest hack, right? Where it's like, and why I love the fact that, like, with Charlie, once you get it tuned, like we can focus on all these other things. Like I get to nerd out in all these other areas of the business to really optimize the different parts of the machine that is our acquisition engine. So we'll be sharing more of these. I've got a playbook that I'm wrapping up that I'll be sharing that kind of outlines more like the sales operations side, what we're looking at. And then Tikis and I will be working on some playbooks specifically around the marketing engine.
Yeah, I would say that VSL, or if you guys are running that, if you guys have that natively hosted inside GHL, that is just a bad no. Take it off, put it on Vimeo, put it on Wistia. But I like Wistia. I just like the aesthetics of Wistia, and it's free. You get 10 videos. You got to get data, because just you put in the video, it doesn't mean they watch it. You know what I mean? You can have an engagement rate of like 7%. Well, no wonder why nobody no shows you or doesn't book a call. Like they're not consuming anything. So that's number one. And then number two is, if you have more of a longer sales, even in the shorter, if you have more of a longer like VSL in the terms of like there's a lot of words and it looks more like an actual sales letter, get something like Clarity from Microsoft. It's free. You just put the code on your website, and then you can see all the hotspots and seeing where they're lying. We're going to be putting that on our low ticket funnels because it's a long sales page. So I want to know, do they land here? Do they stop here? Do they watch more here? And then you'll get to see where all the drop offs are. Or maybe it'll give us more insight in the terms of when we build low ticket funnels. Hey, we're seeing a pattern like, dude, they only go like halfway. Well, cool. I don't have to spend so much time building out the other half of this damn freaking low ticket funnels.
We can kind of optimize the experience to, like, if we see where they're scrolling to, we can put whatever social proof, whatever tie downs, whatever needs to happen there. But seeing the heat map of how people interact with your page with something like Clarity is such a hack that I don't hear enough people talking about. Like, you can just go and see what part of the funnel is somebody stopping or when do they click off to leave. And the more you start to see how your potential customers and potential clients are behaving and interacting throughout the entire sales cycle from every single page that they're seeing and clicking around, the better signal that you start to get on, okay, where are the blockers? Like, what is causing us to, where are we leaking potential revenue throughout this entire process? So that's ultimately, like, if I can rub anything off on anyone who's in my world, is like, gather as much data as you can and get good at compiling the data and analyzing the data, because our optimization engine is CADE. We compile data, we analyze data, we develop data-driven strategy, and then we execute. Right. But if you don't have the data, right, and you're not analyzing the data, you're just throwing stuff at a wall and just hoping for the best. Because, like, as we start analyzing data, we're compiling data, we're analyzing it, the strategy kind of makes itself clear. Like, we don't need to spend so much time kind of thinking through what the strategy is, because as you start looking at the data and going through it, it becomes very, very clear what the bottleneck is and what needs to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any final questions before we wrap up?
Yes, being only less than 2 months into the Charlie family, I do have a couple of questions.
Yep.
One, what is the blue? Did you say blue host, or what is it that you're talking about?
Blue chip?
Blue chip. What is that?
Oh, that is just our portfolio company. So we'll come in as growth partners into different businesses to just take over their marketing and acquisition. The caveat is that they have to be on Charlie so we can own, ensuring like the lead management and things are like dialed in. But since we're in there very intimately, we see a lot of like firsthand nuance things that we can implement and tweak inside of their sales process.
Got it. Okay, that's something good to keep in mind. And the other thing is, Tikis, can you go over what you were saying in regards to the VSL flow, that you don't use GHL, you use Vimeo instead?
Oh, I see a lot of clients, and just in Farley in general, like when we talk about are anybody watching the VSL? Like, how is that doing? Like, are people watching it? When you host a video inside of GHL, you can't get any analytics. It's just a hosting. They're just putting the video for you. So grab that video, go to Vimeo or Wistia. I like Wistia better. And then it's free. Get 10 videos, and then all you do is grab that link and you put that inside of your GHL where the video is, and then now you can see all the analytics and data on your Wistia. What's the play rate? Exactly like how Vaughn said. Oh my God, my play rate went to 32%. That means people are watching it. That means they're engaged. That means they're liking it. So probably the VSL is doing his job. Maybe there's something somewhere else that needs something. So if the people land on the VSL and you see a engagement rate or play rate of something like 10 or 7 or 15, that's still very low. All right, well, I might need to go adjust that hook on that VSL.
Yep.
Maybe that's not catching them yet. Let me get the hook right. If I get the hook right, cool. Now, so another thing we like to do is when we build VSLs for our blue chips, I build them with 5 hooks in mind. So they do 5 hooks. So now they have our variety for the most part. Then what I like to do is I'd like to grab all 5 VSLs, right? They all have different hooks, and I'll put them on ads. And if it converts on ads, cool. If it doesn't, I want to see like which one is getting the most love, meaning which Facebook is really favoring it to the marketplace. Ooh, dude, that might be the first one. Maybe we try on the VSL funnel, or that might be the one that might be it. So you could test that. You could put all 5 and just be like, which one's getting all the spin? Which one is people commenting, liking, sharing, etc. And which one's getting engagement? And be like, that hook, for some reason, people are liking it. Maybe that's the one I threw on my actual funnel. That could be another way to do it too. So there's many ways of
like one of the fastest way to get the data on the hooks is use them in your ads.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Just use the hooks in your ads. But Videolytics or
that's another one.
Wistia are the two. I wouldn't use Vimeo. So it'd either be Videolytics or Wistia for video hosting, just because the play experience is better. I think the play experience is better with Videolytics, but it requires more. It's not as like good out the box as Wistia, but you can't go wrong with either one of those two because you get really good detailed analytics on how people are interacting with the content, with the video, and how well it's performing as a whole. All other assets on the page that I don't really care to track consumption on, I'll host in on YouTube or I'll host on GHL. Like I don't care where I host it. So even if you go and look at some of our own funnels, you'll notice any videos that we want to get detailed analytics on has a completely different play experience because we're hosting it either on Videolytics or Wistia.
Right. Got it. And I believe last question on that, are you guys having them opt into the page or opt in after it gets to a certain point in the video?
We make them opt in before they see the video.
Okay, got it.
So we have a
To the page, then the opt in.
yeah, so they opt in, and typically the way that our Blue Chip funnel works is we're making them complete some type of quiz application on the front end, and we frame it in a way where it's like it makes logical sense for them to complete it, right? And we've spent a ton of time studying the sequence of how to ask questions. Probably too much time studying the sequence of how to ask questions inside of an application.
If you're making money, it wasn't too much time.
Yeah. So, so the way that we ask the questions and the orders that we ask the questions is like a science behind it. So we have a really good opt-in rate, even with like an 8 to 10 question quiz, right? And so they have to complete that before they get to consume the VSL.
Got it.
And,
You're getting a good amount of buy-in before they even get there.
yep. And then we're doing all the work of building that know, like, and trust in the advertisement.
Right.
Right. So we're doing our top of funnel, middle funnel, and bottom of funnel campaigns, like all those content assets that typically you're going to deliver by email and things like that. We've kind of flipped it on its head of like, I don't want anyone to opt in and see our sales assets until they're ready to make a decision on whether or not they want to move forward or not. So we give the value away for free in the ads, right? And then let Facebook do the work of like retargeting them with different creatives and getting them to a point where they reach the critical mass of consumption where they're ready to take action. Right. So at first it means that people are spending more time on platform, which is what we want. And then when they go off platform, how long it takes them to complete that step, like from clicking off platform, completing the quiz and booking a sales call is like less than 24 hours. Right. So a lot of times our sales teams are producing sales. Sometimes they'll have somebody who saw the ad in the morning, who filled out an application in the morning, booked that afternoon, and then paid us before the day's over. Right. But that's because we're essentially like, well, if Facebook is, the algorithm is getting smarter and is learning in what order it needs to feed creatives to the consumer to get them to make a purchase decision, let's give it all the creatives it needs so that they can determine what order makes sense for that specific person. That way, when they get activated inside of our funnel, they're already primed and ready to make a decision.
Okay. Yes, that makes sense. I think we're leaving a lot of money on the table with what you just said because we have a quiz funnel that people fill out, and we just, when they answer it, we send them to our workshop. That happens every week, so they could be purchasing now instead of 6 days from now.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you already have
So-
to where
Book a call, so they've gone through all these steps. When for some of them, they don't need all of that.
yeah.
Is the workshop live? I mean, live or evergreen?
No, it's live. I do it live every Tuesday.
So that's more of a live webinar / workshop. You could try to let them book in, but I don't know if they're going to be able to consume enough for them to take that. I don't know. You could elaborate more. It's just because ours is not live. Ours is evergreen. So that's the only thing with yours. Yours is live. So I don't know if they're going to be able
They're coming in expecting
to
a live.
Yeah. You gotta.
You wouldn't want to, you'd want to deliver that unless they're coming in and then that's like a happy bonus. Like, hey, like you've completed this quiz. Why don't you join me live in a workshop?
There. Yeah. It has to be framed a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, send me the funnel, send it inside of Slack, and we'll have a look at it, and then we can share our thoughts as far as that goes.
Well, just for clarity, then our ads, we spend about $90,000 a month on ads right now, and so the ads are going straight to the workshop page. The funnel for the quiz is completely separate. That's just people who just find me on social media because I'm active there every day. I post content there every day. So those are completely different funnels. But when someone comes in and does the quiz, then what we offer them, whether they're new or not new, which is what the quiz is asking them, they basically go over to the workshop. We've never run ads to the quiz. It would go crazy if we ran ads to the quiz. We just never thought about it.
That's probably your evergreen right there. And just
Yeah, I would play around with taking the quiz to like an evergreen kind of VSL condensed version of your workshop, and then let them consume that. And then once they've reached a certain consumption point, then they can book a call. Right. But then that way, like, you'll get a certain amount of calls coming in every single day just from people going there, consuming that, booking a call. And then people who complete the application or the quiz that don't book a call, you can also feed to Charlie, right? And either have them send them back to that page, or if they're like, their quiz and their application was good enough to just set them directly onto the calendar.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that. I'm gonna step. Yeah, I think he had to drop off, but Tanisha's here. She does our builds on the back end, so we'll look at that, or maybe even split some of that ad spend just to test it.
I wouldn't touch the ad spend yet. I would want to gather data on how that performs organically, and if it does well organically, then you'll get the clear signal like, okay, wow, if we're getting people coming in, they're watching this evergreen presentation, booking the call and signing up, then it's like, that'll be the clear signal that you need to put some spend behind it, because you already have enough organic traffic coming through to quickly validate that it's worth allocating some spend towards it. And if you get some sales from it, that becomes its own budget.
Right. Makes complete sense. Thank you for that.
Yeah. And then Todd, to answer your question, you said we're rewriting our VSL. Do you have any solid resources or framework on how to structure one based on what's working right now? I think our VSLs are based on like my framework, right? To use, like, do we have a
yours is only based off if we have a specific brand, like more of a B2B. The other ones is framed different. I could probably just give you, Todd, if you want, I could probably just give you the main headlines. Like
yeah, share what the offer is, Todd.
Yeah, what's the offer first, Todd?
I don't know if he's still around, but we can ping him inside of Slack to give us more details on the offer. So our VSL scripting varies based on who it's getting in front of. If it's more business, then we gotta kind of follow
your framework for that.
Yeah. So if it's B2B, more ROI driven, then we follow my framework that I made for VSLs. If it's B2C, less ROI driven and more like of an emotional buy, then we follow a different framework there.